Well, this is river crossing on Brigadier General difficulty, and my good units have over 1,000 men, but I guess the average army size is probably, well, I have two green units of 1,000, and I didn't trigger scaling. And the odd thing is, on Brigadier General, is that sometimes we go into battles and we outnumber the enemy, which means the battle is going to be pretty easy. So on Major General, pretty much you're always outnumbered, but Brigadier General, we start off with more than the enemy, and anytime you have, well, 1-to-1, it's a pretty easy battle. So the trick here is to not trip both flags. So once you take both flags, there's a countdown and the battle's over. That's true for a lot of battles. I want to get them all. And we managed to get about 6-to-1 in this battle. I lose, what do I lose? 1,119, 1,119. And the enemy loses 6,669. So just yeah, it's 5.96. Let's call it 6-to-1. So yeah, I love this. We're going to get a ton of experience. We're going to be able to build up our army. And the way it works is you can keep adding units and you can keep making your units bigger and your units get more XP gradually over a period of time. And it's really, I mean, I really like the way the game unfolds that way, is that you keep building an army. And the reason this is interesting is, to me, is that it's a real challenge until Malvern Hill. And then after that, if you've built a really strong army, then unfortunately for the Union campaign, it's pretty academic after that point. Once you have an army that can fight, and you have such good equipment, and your army just gets stronger and stronger. The enemy really doesn't. The Confederate Army has crappy weapons on Brigadier General. Mediocre weapons. Your weapons are vastly superior. You have infinite numbers and infinite cash, and the enemy just can never match the Union after Malvern Hill, and it's just kind of a steamroller after that, in my opinion. So anyway, I always use detached skirmishers. They have greater visibility. We don't get ambushed. And my whole point here is just to grind away at the enemy, get my army into place. I don't want to cross this river. I want to use this river to lure the enemy into it, if at all possible. If the enemy stands still, then I'll just fire at them from a distance and do damage to them. I have a beautiful 20-pound parrot that will tear his artillery apart at range. If I get close to his artillery, well, hopefully his artillery will be dead, but if I do get close to the artillery, he'll get hit with skirmishers, cav from behind, snipers, detached skirmishers, but he'll never get any canister on my infantry at short range. So anyway, I'm just, what I'll do is I'll put detached skirmishers out to fight his skirmishers. Anytime I see skirmishers, I'll use detached skirmishers and snipers and artillery to tear them up. His skirmishers are really resilient, and I'll just tear them up. And right now they're pretty small and fragile. I keep my snipers in the woods. My snipers have great spotting ability. When they get 2 and 3 stars, they have tremendous spotting ability, and you combine those with 20-pound parrots, and you can do enormous damage to him. So this is all going extremely well. I'm getting shots on the enemy flank just for free. That's always nice. I want to make sure that my 24-pound howitzers are getting at least exploding shell, which is mid-range. If they're not, then I need to move them closer to get at least exploding shell. Never, ever use 24-pound howitzers at long range. And you just saw that I'm making sure that my 20-pound parrots are getting shots at enemy artillery, and hopefully will wipe his enemy artillery out. So he's not going to let me just stand there and just take shots on him, which is what I want to do. He's going to react by attacking, which is ultimately what I want. I want him to cross the river. I'm going to shoot downhill. I'm going to get all kinds of buffs shooting downhill. He's going to get all kinds of debuffs shooting uphill. He's going to run uphill, which is going to cost him condition and morale. And it's going to be a slaughter. But the big thing is, I'm not only going to do damage shooting downhill, when he retreats back into the water and he's routing, which he will, I'm going to fire into him while he is in the water and has zero cover, and it's going to be a slaughter. So even before I start my maneuver, which my maneuver is going to be on the right side, he'll be so weakened that he'll be combat ineffective as a fighting force almost. So yeah, I'm on the top of the hill firing down. I have detached skirmishers. My hope is he fires into my detached skirmishers where he'll do little damage. My infantry will fire into him, and this is all good. My 24 howitzers are going to get exploding shell, probably too far away for canister. My snipers are going to get shots on this guy in the water. I have 2 infantry, which are going to catch this guy, push him back into the water, and get lots of kills. And I keep my cav pretty much out of it. The cav, their usefulness is in very specialized situations. They're fragile. I don't want them to get hit. I want to use them when they can do really good work later on. So, yeah, everything's going really well. The other thing I just learned, and it was, I apologize for not remembering the name of the person who told me this. I wish I could remember the name. I had a conversation just yesterday in the comments section. I just learned, because I'm always learning new things about this game. There's always so much that's cool that's not that you don't know. Anyway, that having your 20-pound parrot firing at long range does more damage, and I think he said 30% more damage if you're not in the woods. So that's really interesting. So yeah, I tend to put my 20-pound parrots in the woods, but going forward, I won't. So yeah, that's really neat. I'll get 30% more damage with my 20-pound parrots at long range, just knowing that. And that's really cool. So yeah, 20-pound parrots, keep them out of the woods, but at maximum range from the enemy, and you'll do the most damage with your long-range shots on enemy artillery. So yeah. And as the North, you should have lots of batteries of 20-pound parrots. So anyway, I'm just making sure everyone's lined up. I want to kill the enemy officer. If I can possibly kill him, that would be great. I can use the 20-pound parrot for that also. So yeah, one of the most important things, if you're new to Ultimate General, one of the most important things you can do is kill the enemy general. Your general and the enemy general give a huge buff to units in morale recovery. So don't use your general just to get routed units or units that have been running away to recover and get back into battle. You use your general, you keep them near the action, better than I'm doing right now. But I know my units are fine right now. I mean, I'm just beating up on the enemy. There's no chance that things are not going to go extremely well. So, I mean, this is like clubbing baby seals. I mean, this couldn't be any lovelier. So, but even so, I should have my officer. I shouldn't be so flippant about it. I should have my officer near the combat, giving a buff to morale recovery and keeping everybody at, 100 morale. So I should be doing that. I shouldn't be so lazy. So keep your officer near the combat. I have my officer near the artillery right now, which is not that great. But I don't think my other guys need it, actually. I think my other guys over there on the other flank are fine. So, yeah, I want the enemy to come up that hill, take shots, and then retreat back into the water and just get pounded. And the enemy's just going to lose so many men in the process of coming up that hill. And just watch those numbers fall. I mean, yeah, should lose a couple hundred every time they charge like that. And my guys are just racking up kills. So yeah, and what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 infantry and 2 artillery beating up on 2 of his infantry who right now have 0 cover. So yeah, unfortunately he can run away faster than I can attack, but I'd like for everybody to get as many shots as possible on him as he runs away. But yeah, his units are getting very fragile. So, okay, I'm now starting to move some units out of... Yeah, I can get a few more kills on him while he's... And notice how his unit's doing the little puff of smoke thing. So that means that his unit is near routing, and he's not going to do hardly any damage to me because he's not firing volleys. So I can stand toe-to-toe with that guy and just rack up kills because he's not going to be effective. Now, the lesson for new players is if your units are doing that, you need to get them out of there because they're not doing anything but dying. So if you see units behaving like that, they're really in trouble. But he did the right thing. He moved his officer up and tried to recover the unit and tried to get him out of there, which is, that's all the right play. And the unit will recover, but it won't be as effective as it was before because it doesn't completely recover from hits like that. There's some kind of permanent damage to the unit when they take a lot of casualties. So, yeah, I should turn off my 24-pound howitzer right now. It was a little slow. And the 20-pound Parrot, I need to just keep making sure that it's targeting his artillery. Well, I guess, or his commander. Okay, I'm going to start to redeploy my army to the right. And again, this is a Union army, so we have to move everybody slowly. The Union army is fragile and it can't run very far. Well, can't run at all. If you want to play an army where your infantry can run across the board and charge into melee, you need to play the Southern Campaign. The Union troops just can never do that. They're just... they have to move slowly with lots of support. And you always have to be aware of condition and morale. I mean, it's just... It's the nature of the Union campaign. You start with morale or efficiency of 10, and you have to grind your way up to being at the level that the starting raw recruits of the Confederate Army where they began, and it's just not the same. So, yeah, and at no point are they really... they just never become the dominant force on the battlefield. Confederate infantry can always give them a run for their money, no matter how strong your infantry becomes. So more so on Major General than Brigadier General. On Major General, the enemy stands and fights to the death and fights hard, and you have to defeat them. And it's much harder on Major General. They have a lot more XP. They usually have 2 and 3 stars, and I mean, it's just a fight, and the enemy doesn't just fire a couple shots and run away. Now, the good news is the enemy is more aggressive and will stand and fight, which means if you can put them in a bad situation, you can inflict a lot of casualties really fast. I guess the danger is that anytime they want to break your line, they can, because they can charge into you, and they're going to win melee. And at any point on your line that they can concentrate infantry. So that's kind of cool. I like the fact that the enemy is dangerous. So here, this guy, notice his situation. He's a 1-star unit. He's not very big, and he's going to charge uphill. And I'm just letting him. I'm just letting him step into canister, step into my infantry. I'm going to let him get near the top, and then everybody's just going to pound him. And yeah, he'll be lucky. He'll be lucky to make it back with anybody. He's just absolutely a suicidal attack, and I'll take it. I'll just milk this for XP, and just inflict lots of casualties on him. And his general comes up, and maybe I can kill his general too. So, meanwhile, while my 20-pound Parrot should be just chipping away at his artillery. So yeah, one of the things is, particularly on Brigadier General, is you don't want to necessarily start firing at him with 24-pound howitzer right away as like that unit is approaching. He'll stop advancing. The 24-pound howitzer just completely drops the enemy's aggressiveness. His morale drops, his condition drops. I mean, a couple of blasts from the 24-pound howitzer, and most of his, like that infantry unit, might not have, might have stayed on the other side of the river. So what I want to do is I want to let the guy advance into a killing pocket and kill him, which usually means if you want an enemy to advance, don't hit him with howitzers. If you don't want him to advance, hit him with howitzers. He'll stop. So if a unit is charging your line and you want him to stop to keep him out of melee, 24-pound howitzers to the face will stop him in his tracks. And if you, 2 shots will make him run. So, yeah, that's. But if you want him to keep charging, because you have a trap for him, then don't hit him with 24-pound howitzer, because that will end his aggressiveness. So, yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, canister to the face is demoralizing and it was. It was devastating to units. So I should turn my 24-pound howitzers off. I'm clearly not paying attention. Or is that my 20-pound parrot that's firing? So my 20-pound parrot is in a great position to just keep taking his artillery out. And his artillery is down to nothing. I just noticed that. So all I have to do is just keep pounding away at that unit, and it's going to be gone. And when I get 2 or 3 20-pound parrots, his infantry is just going to be... His artillery will be slaughtered at distance and be totally ineffective, because he usually has maybe Napoleons at best on Brigadier General, which means at any distance his artillery is worthless. So basically my 20-pound parrots just make his artillery completely ineffective. So yeah, I think that's pretty much... I think on Brigadier General he might show up with some 10-pound parrots. I don't think he gets 24-pound howitzers. There's one battle where he might. But yeah, there's one battle where he does get 24-pound howitzers. But pretty much he doesn't get anything real effective. And whatever he gets, my 20-pound parrots will wipe him out before my infantry gets close to him, if I'm clever. So... yeah, this is great. Actually, that's a pretty good opportunity for my 20-pound parrot, because at that range my parrot would get some kills, some really nice kills on that guy. So I could, kind of get free XP for my artillery. So I moved my infantry over. Pretty much, I'm not going to attack until I have my artillery in place. I only need the 24-pound howitzer. I wouldn't never attack without infantry and without artillery and support. Let the artillery cross, get in a good resting position, assemble, let them recover condition, and then get ready for a concentrated attack on the objective. This objective should be fairly easy to take. The second objective is a little tougher, I think, just because I don't want to trip the flag. So I need to make sure I kind of move up to the right on the eastern side of the map and to get to the north and, come into that tree line that you see and don't trip the flag. So make sure I wipe everybody out that's going to be in this little pocket. Because after I take the flag to the south, the enemy will fall back and hold the final objective, and that'll be fine. So I want to move the infantry up, but not get ahead of the artillery. We're going to wait for the artillery. Oh, I wiped out his artillery, and I don't see another artillery over there. Did I wipe both of them out? I don't think so. I think I just wiped out one, and the other one I just can't see. So I'll target his cav, maybe his general. Yeah, the 20-pound parrot is having just lots of fun. The only thing I'm doing wrong here is I'm going to start softening them up with skirmishers, and I need my commander up near my infantry units before I attack. I'm getting my cav positioned behind him. So, yeah. Now that I can see where he is, I can start moving people up to the objective. Yeah, I'm going to start targeting the commander now. Hopefully I'll kill him. And boy, you take out the commander and his units just become very, very fragile. So yeah, I'm going to advance with the detached skirmishers, kind of soften them up a little bit. My infantry's moved up. I need to get my artillery within at least exploding shell range, hopefully canister range. And, well, actually just the artillery within canister range would convince his few units there to fall back. Now my cav is behind him, so I can get all kinds of easy shots on him, kind of wrapping around the position. Yeah, this is all going to go just fine. So yeah, I need to get the only thing I need to do is get that artillery just a little bit closer, I think. So yep, couple shots flank and rear on his one infantry, and he's routed. That's great. And now we can just kind of get on the flanks of, there's an infantry there. I can't see his skirmisher. Okay, he just fell back. Yeah, that unit is once again real fragile. So we're gonna just beat up on him a while until he finally routs. He's just gonna take losses for no purpose. He can't even defend himself. And yeah, that all went really well. Now the one of the things about Ultimate General is that there's always been a problem with the retreat path of enemy units. It's makes no sense. So one of the things that you have to do is pretty much just accept it, because they're never going to fix the retreat path of these units, both yours and the enemy's. So this unit just retreated in an absolutely just incomprehensible direction. So don't let it bother you. This unit is now isolated. There are now all kinds of ways to kill him. Cut him off, easily kill him. It's just free XP. The unit can't defend itself. So yeah, just what I recommend is don't get angry about it. The only thing that makes me angry about it is when it happens to my units. Yeah, so what I want to do is use that cav unit to run over and get a whole bunch of free XP. He took a shot to the rear, which is irritating, from the enemy skirmisher. But yeah, we can just yeah, just rack up some free XP. And I didn't keep my commander close enough. Man, that's sloppy. Because now I have a unit in morale shock, and that's completely unnecessary. So we're just piling up dead. The AI does something pretty clever. The AI charges on the other side. So yeah, I think that's great. This makes it much easier to get a whole bunch of kills. But could be trouble if, you know, the units weren't so small and only 1 star. But the AI will do this occasionally. They'll see a weak part of your line and they'll charge it. So what looks like happened is the skirmisher unit came up and saw how lightly defended this hill was. And seeing a weak part of the line, that triggered the AI to attack. Okay, that's actually pretty impressive. The AI will do that. They'll look for a weak part of your line. If there were more infantry and artillery over here and the AI could see it, then, yeah, then he wouldn't attack. But what he did is he calculated there's a chance of success, which there really actually isn't. And, yeah, so seeing a chance of success, he decided to attack, and we'll see how this goes. So when I have a isolated infantry unit, sometimes I'll use cav and snipers to just wipe it out. So I see that as just something to milk for XP. I'd like for the rest of my infantry on this hill to take a little bit of time to recover, and then we'll begin our movement to the next phase. I have to get my artillery moved up before I do anything. And yeah, we'll get ready for the next phase. These guys trying to attack across the water, that's just terrific. They're going to suffer nothing but lots of casualties. My guys have the high ground, and this is all going to go very badly for him. So, yep, and he's just piling up casualties. Man, my green unit is, with the absolutely raw unit with the 1842s, getting lots of XP. That's terrific. So before I do anything over on the right, I want to make sure that the artillery gets up. But I'm looking at a whole bunch of infantry facing just 2 skirmishers. I would really like to kill those guys. Yeah, what I always do at a time like this is I'm thinking, how do I get the enemy to cross it, to charge into the water? So yeah, he has someone in the water. That's someone I can hit. I want to make sure I'm hitting that guy in the water. Couple volleys from those units should tear him up nicely. You'll notice one of my units has no condition. That unit needs to not do anything. Units with no condition are completely worthless. They're just going to die. Better to just have them rest until they get about 50% condition. Sometimes I let units rest until they get back to 100% condition. I'm looking at the clock. It's 5 p.m. I don't have an infinite amount of time here. I would rather not kill them all rather than rush and take unnecessary casualties. Because right now, like, the guy charged across the river and now he's routing and he's going to retreat into the water and he's going to be lucky if he doesn't shatter. My cav and my sniper are just, just picking on seal clubbing that routed infantry to the right. His skirmishers are near, his 2 skirmisher units on the right are near shattering. Yeah, this is all going really well. So, yeah, I noticed he just had another unit charge into the water. So there's somebody else to really hurt. My infantry is not only in the woods, but it's uphill firing into a unit in the water. Yeah, that's just terrific. Look at those losses. Another thing that I think is pretty interesting is these smaller units definitely take fewer casualties. So if you have units of 2,000 and you take a volley from the enemy, you take X number of casualties. You have a unit of 1,000 takes that same volley. I don't have any numbers to back this up, but I have a lot of battles in this, in all my playthroughs, where I get, well, I mean, you're going to see a battle soon of 20 to 1, and there are battles where I lose less than 500 men in the entire battle. And one of the reasons is small units. Small units just don't take a bunch of losses. Part of it is that the units have higher levels of efficiency when they're smaller. But the other part is there just seems to be something that your units take fire and they're small. I would like for someone to confirm or tell me that's not true. Of course, also you'll notice that I try to stay on high ground, which gives me which debuffs enemy damage, and I try to stay in cover, and, all those things help keep your losses down as well. But I think having small units also keeps your losses down. So, yep. And his unit in the water just shattered. Happy day. So now we're going to pick on somebody else. 3 shots on Cav, always good. Did I kill his commander? I already killed his commander, I think. So yeah. I'm looking at the blue bar. He's way outnumbered. If his commander's dead, then this is just academic at this point. Kind of in the center, I have 3 units picking on 1. That's not going to last very long. I have the guy in that retreated the whole way across the board. Kind of lost him. But he's over there somewhere, and my cav is going to pick on him. Get free XP. My sniper has to be exhausted. So yeah, I had the infantry unit move to the left because flank shots, enemy downhill, enemy units in the water, lots of easy kills. So all that's going really well. So I had him move over to the left where he could just pile up kills. And my infantry unit, like in the woods, firing across the river, that's not going to be, anywhere near as good because the enemy over there probably has maybe 40% cover. So here's another example of the enemy retreating in incomprehensible and stupid ways, which means because of the broken AI. I have an enemy unit that in the northwest part of the map that is retreating into the enemy rear, which is something that a problem this game has always had, of the enemy retreating in absolutely the wrong direction. But what I'm going to do is, now that that is a, flashing white routed unit, I'm going to detach an infantry unit and maybe a detached skirmisher and just go round that guy up. He has no chance to fall back to the victory location and put up a fight with the rest of the army. I'm going to cut him off and wipe him out. And I have, if you notice, I have an infantry unit coming up behind this guy who was kind of there. Yeah, that guy. I had an infantry unit walk up behind him and put a volley into him. So, yeah, that's all good. That's just good fun. My cav is going to pile up lots of free XP. If it's going to be a fight, I'll have him dismount. And hopefully the enemy will stay in that water. It looks like he's in the water, which lowers his cover. That'll be fine. And then I just need everyone else to come up and kind of occupy this wood line. And yeah, then it's just academic. I don't want to rush. I want to take my time and make sure I wipe this guy out. I'd like to get them all. That would be the ideal. Okay, everyone has plenty of ammo except maybe my 20-pound parrot. Be nice to get some more free kills. Yeah, I had my sniper unit fall back because I wanted to stay out of combat and get some more condition because it's not being effective because its condition is too low. So one of my infantry units is exhausted. That's very bad. So yeah, the thing that I'd recommend is when units are tired, like you get to a point where you look at this and you say the enemy's just about completely broken. All I need to do is push. But with the Union Army, you can't do that. Just moving across that open field exhausted a bunch of infantry units. And so what you have to do is you have to say, my army can't push. It's tired. So I have to stop and really calculate what I'm going to do next. I have to be careful. I have to let some units maybe rest a little bit and get condition. up a little bit before we do anything else. Yeah, when your units are exhausted, and that happens with the North, you have to rotate units out that are tired and rotate units into the line that are not. So for some reason he's attacking with skirmisher units that are real under strength, so this is not going to go well for him. Oh, so he has an artillery unit over there. He's been hiding. The AI will do that. He'll hide units in the rear. I don't know why he does, but he'll hide units in the rear. But once I can see him, the 20-pound parrot is going to reach out and touch somebody. So okay, I found the infantry unit. He's hiding in the... One is hiding in the northwest corner of the map, and then he has a bunch of other units hiding in the northeast corner of the map. So I'm going to walk an infantry unit, and my detached skirmisher is going to wipe out the guy on the left, and then as many people as I can bring to bear without tripping the flag they're gonna wipe out this pile of troops that is gaggling in a gaggle over here on the right side. So just have to be careful what I'm doing, and I'll be able to take these guys out. Yeah, I'm looking at the condition. My units are fine, 30% condition, they can fight. Anything above 20% in this phase, they should do okay. So I rested my infantry unit. He is on the left side of the map. He's doing fine. He has nice condition. I'm going to put him right up toe-to-toe with the enemy. And we're just gonna wipe him out. That unit has 1842s, so I want him to be as close as possible since I have much bigger unit and my unit has much better condition and morale. So yeah, I'm gonna stand right up next to him, hopefully get in a little bit of cover. Yeah, cover isn't terrible. And my 1842s at that range are gonna do great work. Your units have a max effective range, and what the ranking of the weapons in the inventory is based on their max effective range. So you want better range for your weapons. So the 1842s, though, they're fine. If you're right up toe-to-toe with the enemy, they do really a good job. So, but past their max effective range, they do much reduced. Their damage is reduced. So, in my opinion, the best weapons are always the weapons with the infantry rifles, the ones with the max effective range. Yeah, more than anything else. So, point in fact, like the Lorenz has very high accuracy, but it doesn't have a very high max effective range. Therefore, everything else, below that on the inventory list, even though it doesn't have an accuracy of 75 like the Lorenz, because it has a much better max effective range, is a better weapon. So would much rather have 1855s or Harper's Ferries than the Lorenz. And that's why. So yeah, the unit on the left finally shattered. So that infantry unit, as odd as it is, I should have that infantry unit start walking to the other side of the map And the reason is the more your unit marches, the more stamina condition goes up. So I should have that unit, which right now is at pretty high condition, I should have it walk across the map. Same thing with artillery. You marching your units, even, like right now, would affect the level of condition that the unit has and their stamina, condition, and so on. They become physically stronger. I guess that's what it's supposed to model. So I really should have that. I'm not moving him because he's not going to get there in time. But I should have him move anyway just to build up the condition of the unit, if that makes sense. So I don't see much here. The enemy seems to have wasted away to nothing. So I want to make sure I get that supply wagon. And I really want to get the supply wagon for the last unit surrenders. Got the supply wagon. Then everybody turns on this last little tiny unit. He's going to last about a nanosecond. And yeah, should surrender and done. So there it is. 1,000 to 6,000. Happy day. Fun battle. River crossing. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved fighting it. And I'll see you in camp.